So, and then there's one of their family friends is from another family, and he's simply too sick, so it is assumed that Liz is the next ruler. He has Sandowski syndrome. Which is just like, I'm gonna die disease.
At least they came up with the name.
Sandowski's.
They never explain what it does other than makes him, like, weak and probably, like, age prematurely.
And he's eventually gonna die. So, him and his daughter are all excited about, because the daughter, played by the chick off Modern Family, they did not advertise her being in this movie.
Sarah Hyland is in this movie
as a nerd.
But that's believable.
No, not as a nerd, but as not very popular and unattractive. Which is hilarious because her in glasses is more attractive than the attractive people in this movie.
Yeah.
Like, Lissa's popular because she's the princess. Nobody's ever like, oh my god, she's drop dead gorgeous.
Well, and she is also mind controlling half the school.
She is. Part of the popularity subplot is her running around mind controlling.
The Rose, she was pretty attractive. She had a nice rack.
She reminded me of Ellie from Last of Us.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
And I didn't even play Last of Us, but it was.
Well, you watched me play part of it.
Part of it, yeah. But that's who she reminded me of, except without saying "fuck" as much.
Yeah. Not nearly as much cursing or dying as in The Last of Us.
But so they go to the dance, and there's a big deal made about Rose getting a necklace, like a $12,000 necklace.
I thought it was like, was it 12?
It was $12K.
Okay.
Oof. In like a shop in a mall,
where like they would not have, like, the whole store may not be worth $12K.
Exactly. So they get to the dance or whatever, and it's whatever. They're having fun. There was a rumor going around that a couple of guys like had sex with Rose and
gang fed
Rose, and the friends like apologize, and then she kisses him on the cheek and walks away, and the ginger guy's like,
he just fades into the shadows.
He does. He's never seen again after that point. But then
not that he was really that important, but you feel for him.
You do. He's like a less muscular Ginger Jacob.
But see, he never even has a chance.
He never has a chance.
Because she has made up her mind. No, you're not getting any of this.
Yeah, first it's the guy, the unattractive guy at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then later it's Dimitri, the Dampier.
Yeah.
But so they're partying or whatever, and as part of the apology, Rose sends one of the guys that was lying about DPing her, which has multiple connotations because it's a vampire movie.
Yeah, no, I swear they attach the weirdest sexual connotations to feeding. It's really
it's
weird.
clear Rose it's almost orgasmic when Rose.
Well, no, and that is clear. But it's just one of those things where it's like, feeding on your guardian, that's a big no-no. But they never explain why. So it's
probably just because it's feeding off of. They're still half vampire, so it's like feeding off your own kind.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine it's just weird that they never explain why it's such a big deal.
But so the climax starts at the party where Liz is kind of finally the Christian, the dark broody guy.
The guy who looks like Robert Pattinson.
The guy that looks like Robert Pattinson. The fire-adept vampire kind of meets her on the dance floor. They kiss and start dancing. And then the ex-girlfriend who perpetrated most of the stuff by using her vagina.
Yeah, that's really funny.
She used her vagina to manipulate these guys to do anything she wanted.
We're not talking like magical vagina.
No,
we're just
she's
talking
like she said she'd have sex with us.
Which apparently they did.
They had sex, and she left a bunch of blood messages all over the place.
But yeah, we're not talking about like magical pussy or anything. No, just regular vagina.
Which I guess when you're in high school and you're the most popular kids in school, but you're simultaneously pathetic.
Yeah. Because that girl wasn't even like drop dead gorgeous or anything. It wasn't like, oh man, I'd do anything to get a shot at her.
Yeah. But
vampire pussy must be hard to come by.
So she tries to call out Lissa.
It's got fangs.
And then Rose is like, no, stop it. You know,
just punch her right in the goddamn face.
She's like, I kind of feel bad for you, but was aggressive about it, and like punches her in the mouth. So she gets taken to the principal, where the principal tries to sedate her. And this is their answer to everything in the school, is to sedate somebody. But it turns out,
or if you're Dimitri, it's to date somebody.
Oh!
Yeah!
But, so Lissa and Christian, or like, Lissa, like, leaves and goes to sit in her special place, which is the books. And Christian follows her. And they go up there, and
Lissa gets kidnapped.
Like, Rose is like, something's wrong, because they have a psychic link. She can see through Lissa's eyes.
Which I can understand they probably used that in the book to explain why. So they didn't have to have like a floating narrator.
Yeah.
So like Rose can see stuff that she's not there for.
It's not a two-way connection. Like, Rose can see what's going on with Lissa, but Lissa can't can communicate but can't tell what's going on with Rose. It's the trade-off of the thing that's explained at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
And so she gets kidnapped, and so she goes, like, Rose goes to Dimitri to try and get help. Where it turns out that necklace she was giving was a love charm.
So they almost get it on.
They do. He rips her dress off, throws it in the fire, and like, gross. And then he realizes it's a love charm and destroys it. Luckily.
I'm saying I do have to get like the writer some credit. They at least made Dimitri like he's
like, I don't want to have sex with a 17-year-old, or like I do, but I'm not going to. So they run off. They grab another Dampier and run off to rescue her. And it turns out the real bad guy was the dad vampire, the family friend dad. And he's like, oh yeah, I'm dying, so I want you to give your life up so that I can stay alive. The camera's running out of battery. We better wrap this up. So like they rescue her, and then in the midst of Dimitri and other Dampier run around kicking the crap out of people, like Lissa and Christian snuck in there, run upstairs to go find Lissa, where it turns out Lissa saved herself.
Yeah, she escaped all by herself.
She did, by herself. You cannot say the females in this movie are, terrible, because they take care of themselves, which is...
Yeah, but I was supposed to say that, but you got the opposite problem with the male characters.
The male characters also rescue people, so there's at least somewhat gender equality in the rescuers.
Yeah, but I think it's more of
Except for Dimitri is by far above, which is addressed in a line, because he's trying to break in to go get to the family friend vampire, and he's trying to kick down the door. And so there's this guy who's apparently second best. I assume it's addressed in the book. He looks and he goes, they say Dimitri's a god, but I'm an atheist with a big gun.
And it's one of those lines that if you had anybody else saying it with like a little bit more inflection, it could have been cool. The problem is that guy clearly didn't care.
And then Dimitri comes in and kicks the crap out of him. And so they get outstairs, and it turns out there's these things called Psy Hounds, which are superbly trained super dogs. And they corner Rose and Lissa. And then Christian gets there and does nothing. And then Dimitri gets there and manages to zip cuff the dad vampire or whatever. And he sicks the Psy dogs, and Christian lights them on fire. And it's like, oh, the day is saved. And they're walking around. They're like, the plot is done by this point. They've arrested him. Everything's good. But then they're like, oh, Rose, he wants to see you in jail. And they're like, what? He said something about you being shadow kissed. And she's like, okay. And goes down to the jail. And he's like, oh, it turns out I know about it. This thing you could probably easily research. Turns out a shadow kissed is just somebody that a spirit magic person. Gotta wrap this up. Spirit magic person basically brings back to life because they care so much.
Yeah, so it just means that she was
like
dead.
Her whole family died, but she had such a strong connection to Rose that she brought Rose back from the dead.
Yeah.
And so Rose has an innate connection with her. And then...
Which is why they can do the whole two-way thing.
Which is why she can see everything, and Saint Vladimir had one, and it's basically... It prevents a spirit magic person from turning into a Strigoi, like it turns out that one teacher did.
Yeah.
Which is a big twist of the movie, but she escaped. And then it turns out the daughter, played by the chick from Modern Family...
Sarah Hyland, yeah.
Becomes a Strigoi.
Because her dad said, basically.
Her dad said, turn into a Strigoi for me. And she goes, okay, daddy. And eats the guy she was dancing with, who she wanted to give her virginity to, and ate him instead. And then the final fight scene is against...
Sarah Hyland. Puts up a better fight than you'd think.
She does. She almost kills Rose. And then Dimitri gets there. Rose had a chance to kill her, but hesitated.
Which was a callback to her earlier in the movie when they're like, hey, could you do this when...
Yeah. So Dimitri gets there, Dimitri kills her, and, the plot wraps up from there. And there's a big speech at the end about, hey, everybody be nice.
Don't be a dick to each other.
Yeah.
And then there's a sequel hook at the end where they reveal that all the Strigoi, the evil vampires, are just 2 miles away from
They're living in a cave on a mountainside a couple of miles away that includes that teacher.
And they're like, do we attack? And then the teacher's like, no, but soon. I'm like, why not right now? It takes 5 of them to kill one of you.
Yeah.
And it looks like there's hundreds.
There's easily hundreds in the cave. We got 1 minute left on the camera, so we wrap this up. Again, I'll say, I kind of unironically liked this movie. But I'm a sucker for potential. This movie had a shot to be good.
That's what I'm saying. It's the elements are there, and that it could work, and it kind of shines through during certain parts. It's when it stops trying to be either way too serious or trying way too hard to be cool.
I have to recommend it.
I would go if you're looking for a movie to just kind of it's all, for me, it's so bad it's good.
Yeah, that's if you like kind of bad movies, go watch it immediately.
Yeah, I would highly recommend it. Especially do it soon though, because it's almost out of theaters.
Yeah, but we got less than a minute left on the camera. Thank you guys for watching.
This is Jarrett and Zakk. We'll be back
at some point. We'll probably do this again if you guys like it.
Yeah.
So
hell, we'll probably just do it because we like it.
Yeah.
It's just an excuse to see shitty movies.
Yeah.
Okay. Bye, everybody.